Hello my friends, Aspen here, welcome back to my channel. Today we're gonna test the Sony FDR-X3000 against the Osmo Action 5 Pro and the GoPro Hero 13. These cameras are the newest action camera on the market until the Ace Pro 2 is supposed to launch, and these are in many ways the benchmark for a lot of action cameras, small compact camera. But the Sony FDR-X3000 has been around since 2016, and this camera is extremely popular amongst a lot of big creators like Bald and Bankrupt. He has a travel and vlogging channel, and people are just relying on the excellent audio quality and the excellent image. And also the stabilization is optical on this camera, so you don't have that electronic stabilization. Electronic stabilization is extremely good as long as the lighting condition is good. This camera can be used even in low light and has pretty good stabilization. And you have a high quality lens on it, the size lens, which is excellent, true colors, and overall an easy to use camera. When it comes to battery life, it's pretty good. I think you can record up to 1 hour on this camera in 4K, and then you have to change battery. But the batteries on this camera is extremely cheap and pretty fast to charge. The Osmo Action 5 Pro is my favorite camera. Maybe not the 5 Pro, but especially the Action 4, because this camera has some quirks that DJI need to fix and address. Hopefully they will do that. They always do that. And the GoPro Hero 13, I wasn't sure if I'm gonna buy this camera or not. I can still return it. I can't see anything new. If you see on the GoPro Hero 12 and even the 11 and also actually the 10 also, it seems to be more or less exactly the same image quality. The only thing they've done to GoPro this year is you can buy accessories for it, lenses, and that's just money grabbing in my opinion. Why do that? So GoPro hasn't been innovative at all. You can also say that with DJI, if you compare it to the Action 4 and the Action 5 Pro, or these two cameras, the only thing they really did better now with the Action 5 Pro is better image quality in low light. Still not perfect at all. It's still way too sharp and looks a little bit fake in my opinion. It seems to just be raising the shadows a lot. The Sony FDR-X3000 isn't a typical action camera. It's splash proof in many ways, and you can also use a housing for it, so you can dive with it or do whatever, but the audio quality is crap using this case. The audio quality on this camera without the case is fantastic actually. That's one of the really big strengths about this camera, and just overall easy to use. Highest resolution on the Sony FDR-X3000 is 4K, 30 frames. You can shoot in 1080p up to 60 frames, and I think you have in 720p, 120 or 240, but I never use such a low resolutions. The Action 4, 4K 120, highest resolution, and 5.3K 60, and also 4K 120 on the GoPro Hero 13. But for me, comparing cameras side by side like this is to show people out there that it's probably not necessary to buy always the newest cameras on the market. Maybe you can get away with it with the Sony FDR-X3000, because it's not always the perfect image quality. It's the story behind the video that is important. So if you're going to show something, you can probably use a cheaper camera, but this camera is actually still expensive in 2024. I think you have to buy $200 to $300 US to buy it, and that's pretty high in 2024. And it's a little bit sad to see that Sony hasn't developed a new typical action camera, if you can say that, because they had something really great with the Sony FDR-X3000, and I just love this camera. I will never sell it, that's for sure, as long as it works. Yeah, so it's just a fun camera to use. So we're going to compare the Sony FDR-X3000 versus the Osmo Action 5 Pro and the GoPro Hero 13. And hopefully you like the video, and of course will give me a thumb up, and please tell me what you think down in the description. Can you see a huge difference between them? We're going to shoot in the same resolution, 4K 30, and in natural normal color profile. On the Osmo Action 5 Pro and the GoPro Hero 13 you have a flat color profile. On this camera you have a vivid profile and also a natural. I like to use the natural profile because you can adjust it a little bit. It's a little bit easier to grade and it looks more natural. But we're going to compare them side by side, and it's going to be fun to see if the Sony FDR-X3000 can compete between the Osmo Action 5 Pro and the GoPro Hero 13. Hopefully I will be positively surprised. I think that the Osmo Action 5 Pro is going as number one, but probably the Sony FDR on a strong second place and the GoPro Hero 13 on the last place, because this camera is a disappointment in my opinion. But I'm not the typical GoPro fan, but I started my YouTube channel with the GoPro Hero 7, and that was what started it all. And for many people that are using action camera, GoPro was the start, the beginning of their career. But sadly, GoPro has not been too innovative the last couple of years, and that's not good at all. So the Chinese brand is taking over the market more and more. We need GoPro, so hopefully they will keep being innovative and give us new and better cameras in the future. But let's stop talking now and test these cameras side by side. So let's start. Yeah guys, what do you think? Now you can see the Osmo Action 5 Pro, the GoPro Hero 13 and the Sony FDR-X3000 side by side. Me sitting, looking at the camera, looks pretty stupid. But this is an important test in many ways. A lot of people have asked me to test the Sony FDR-X3000 again against the GoPro Hero 13 and also the DJI Osmo Action 5 Pro. So this is the test. I want to test the stabilization, overall image quality, and just vlogging and using the cameras. When it comes to functions, of course the newest Action 5 Pro and the GoPro Hero 13 has huge advantage over the Sony FDR-X3000. But that doesn't mean that the Sony FDR-X3000 can't be used in 2024. Still, I love this camera. This camera has a lot of fans, and overall the natural image quality is just nice. It just looks nice. It looks more natural than digital sharpening footage from an action camera like the Hero 13 and the Osmo Action 5 Pro. But for me, I mostly use action camera, of course, because I'm out vlogging and doing activities in all kinds of weather. And the limitations on the Sony FDR-X3000 is of course the weather. You can use a waterproof case as I show you in the intro, but that affects the overall image quality a little bit and also the audio. Because the audio qualities from the Sony FDR-X3000 is really good. You have optical stabilization on the Sony FDR and you have electronic stabilization on the GoPro Hero 13 and the Action 5 Pro. So can you see a major difference? It should be, hopefully is. We have 4K on the Action 5 Pro, 4K on the Sony FDR-X3000 and 5.3K on the GoPro Hero 13, which is the highest resolution on that camera. When it comes to resolution on the Sony FDR, max resolution is 4K, 30 frames, but you can shoot in 1080p, 60 frames and 30 frames and below. 4K 120 is the highest frame rate on the GoPro Hero 13 and the Osmo Action 5 Pro, and of course you have better slow motion on these two brand new cameras, but it should be a difference. But the Sony FDR, as I've told you many times before, is still really popular amongst a lot of people. A lot of big creators are using this camera still, and it's just good. It's so easy. It's just good. And it's so small and compact and lightweight, and it's more or less invisible in many ways. But image quality is of course important for a lot of people. So if you're going to buy a brand new camera today, I will probably go for a DJI camera, especially over a GoPro. But yeah, but do you actually need to upgrade? It all depends on the use, like I said. If you're doing action and activities, yeah, you need an action camera, and the Sony FDR-X3000 isn't an action camera. It was marketed against that market, but it's been more and more a vlogging and travel camera. But it's a cool camera, it is, and it's so tiny. And it's kind of sad to see that Sony hasn't done anything more with the X3000. They could have been giving us an X4000 with maybe a little screen and some colors on the screen, and some cool settings, because it's just good. Never overheats, never any bugs, nothing. The GoPro Hero 13 or GoPro has just a lot of bugs, and I think that the GoPro Hero 13, it should be better than the other one, the 12 and 11 and 10, but it's still the same processor, same sensor, nothing new. Action 5 Pro has a brand new sensor, but still the same size, 1/1.3, and it's better in low light than the GoPro, of course. But when it comes to vlogging in low light, using an action camera with electronic stabilization in low light isn't good. DJI has tried to fix this with giving it a nano chip just to improve the overall quality of the footage in low light, but yeah, it works, but it looks kind of over sharp, and so it's not perfect in any way. Optical stabilization isn't affected by the lighting condition that much, but of course with a small sensor it's limited on how much light you can get into the lens to get overall good image quality. But the Sony FDR-X3000 has surprised me a lot of times with overall good image quality. I'm going to walk a little bit, of course. We need to see how the stabilization is and how it is to vlog with this camera. I think, of course, that the Action 5 Pro and the GoPro will have better stabilization today, because it's quite difficult to have your hands completely still. But with optical stabilization it looks a little bit more natural. You can see more movement, but it's quite easy to get a little bit of that jerky image. But let's vlog a little bit and wrap up the video, and you can tell me what you think. Okay guys, let's do the vlogging test. Have I forgotten something? I don't know. I usually do. I'm a little bit clumsy. Yeah, let's test the stabilization of me walking. This is what people usually are using their cameras for. Walking and talking and filming activities. Then stabilization is important. And like I said, of course you have better stabilization in good lighting condition on action cameras than you have on Sony FDR-X3000. But it's kind of amazing to see when you look at YouTube how many people are positive to the Sony FDR-X3000. It seems to be having a cult status on the web, and just sad that Sony hasn't done anything to upgrade it or giving us a new one. And of course cameras the last couple of years has come a really long way. It's just incredible to see what kind of things they can put into these small camera bodies. But that doesn't mean that you always need the newest. Like I said many times before, it's usually the story behind it when you're filming something that is important. Of course people want good audio quality and overall nice footage, good image quality. But I do think that the Sony FDR produces good quality even in 2024. I'm walking now on a pretty flat surface, so the stabilization should be okay. But with an action camera with electronic stabilization in good lighting condition, you can get away with it. If you jump too much, like if I walk like this, you can probably see a big difference in image quality. If I'm waving my arms a little bit, then you can see on the Sony FDR this becomes a little bit jerky. And the reason is quite simple. That's because of the optical stabilization. That means that the lens is moving inside the camera house. But with electronic stabilization, it's the shutter speed that controls more or less the overall stabilization. But this is what you get from the Sony FDR against the brand new action camera on the market. But the GoPro has been a huge disappointment in many ways. It's just the same. If you have a Hero 12 or 11 or even a 10, I don't see any point upgrading. Like I said, the only thing they giving us, or money grabbing things, is actually buying accessories like lenses. Pointless in my opinion. Yeah, the battery life is a little bit better and it doesn't supposed to overheat, but it do. DJI Action 4 and 5 is probably the best action camera you can get now, I'm sure. I wasn't sure if I was recording, and that's something that I like with the action cameras, with the front-facing screen, that you can see that you're recording. You can't see that on the Sony FDR-X3000. But how is the audio quality when I'm walking and breathing? This is the audio. This is the audio from the Sony FDR-X3000. This is the audio from the GoPro Hero 13, and this is the audio from the DJI Action 5 Pro. Let's do some running stabilization test, and now you can probably see a huge difference. How's the field of view? I like wide. I usually use linear, standard, D-warp, but with new action cameras now, it's not too much warping in the footage. It's nice now. It's fall, the colors are beautiful. I think we should wrap up the video now. This was just a quick little test. I just want to compare these cameras side by side, because I know a lot of people are asking about it, and a lot of people are also wondering if it is necessary to upgrade to the newest and greatest every year. I don't think it is. I'm kind of a camera junkie, so I like new technology, but that doesn't mean you need to. What do you think? Do you still think that the Sony FDR has something to come with in 2024, or is it time to throw it away? I will never do that. I think it's excellent. And we are waiting, of course, for the new Ace Pro 2, which is supposed to be a big deal. We just have to wait and see. I'm not quite sure if I'm gonna buy that one. We will see. We will see. And about the GoPro Hero 13, I don't know. I'm probably gonna return it. I'm not quite sure. Disappointed about that. Did I need to upgrade from the Action 4 to the Action 5 Pro? No, I didn't. Probably not. But I did a test. That video will also be up soon. Testing the Action 4 against the Action 5 Pro in low light, out running, because like I use my action cameras in all kinds of conditions, even in bad lighting conditions, and that is important. But what do you think? Is the Sony FDR still the king? I don't know. But thank you so much for watching. Give me a thumb up. That means a lot to me. It's a lot of work doing this. And of course, comment down below and subscribe. So I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.